Cedar Point is the self-proclaimed roller coaster capital of the world. Whether they are or not is definitely up for debate, but we can probably all agree they have a great collection of coasters. Today I'm going to rank them from worst to best in my opinion, excluding Dragster, as I have sadly never had the chance to ride it. Oh, and Pipe Scream, because that's not a coaster, Cedar Point. I really don't care what you say. Does it surprise anyone that Wilderness Run comes in last place? With a top speed of 6 miles per hour, this is quite literally a ride to get children into rides. Moving on. If we compare the two kiddie credits in this park, does it surprise anyone that Woodstock Express comes in as the better ride? While it's still clearly for kids, at least it provides a small amount of thrills, I guess. To be honest, I just had to get the kiddie coasters out of the way to get into the real meat and potatoes of this video. Cedar Creek Mine Ride is the one coaster at this park that I literally refuse to re-ride. Not only is the layout boring even for a mine ride, but the classic aero profiling aged like warm yogurt. I have never been in more pain than when I got off the ride during Coaster Mania, and I do not see myself riding it this weekend when I head back to the point. Corkscrew is the coaster that I and many other people expect Cedar Point to close next to make space for better attractions. Besides the obvious complaints with it, those being roughness and boring layout, there's an unquantifiable ick I get from this ride. While I'm impressed that it has run for as long as it has, I won't think twice if it disappears. I do hope the iconic Midway corkscrews stay or get an homage of some sort though, because those are such a fundamental part of the Cedar Point Midway. I have said in a video in the past that I'm not sure turning Mantis into Rougarou was the best decision Cedar Point could have made, and I stand behind that. If this ride had a 0G roll and a retrack to get rid of that B&M rattle, it wouldn't be half bad to be honest with you, but not having these two things really holds the ride back so much in my opinion. In fact, it's enough to drop it this low in my rankings. At this point, we are past the not really a fan part of this list and are into the I don't regret riding them section. Looking at my overall credits list, there's actually quite the jump between Rougarou and Iron Dragon. I'm kind of torn on this ride actually, because I have a good time on it every time, but it's in no way thrilling. I see this coaster as a journey through the trees and over the lagoon, a nice break amongst the hustle and bustle that the average day at Cedar Point brings. I also find that this ride is great to bring friends on, which definitely helps it up in my rankings. This one might be a controversial ranking, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not a huge fan of inverts. I'll enjoy them, but I don't long to return to them very often. I have nothing against Raptor and appreciate it for what it is, it's just a victim of my personal taste, sadly. These next three rides are in a tier I call, I want to ride it every trip, but I won't wait too long for it. Kicking off this trio is Gemini. Except for the roughness in the valleys a little bit, this ride is usually a fun time for me. I love the racing aspect, and some of the airtime is great. The lap bars are the same as another ride later on this list, but not nearly as painful as the airtime isn't as aggressive. Something I do not see discussed frequently about Gemini is the glass roof on the station. From the outside, this station is not pretty, but inside it is an absolute work of art. Blue Streak holds a special place in my heart. It was the first roller coaster that I rode with my fiance. Side note, if you're into astronomy and space in general, she just started a new channel called Cozy Cosmos, link in the description. Show her some love and tell her Station Weight sent you. The airtime on this ride is underappreciated, and the fact that it has been around since 1964 is amazing. I kind of wish it didn't have PTC trains, but that really is my only problem with this gem. Rounding out this trio is the crowd-pleasing extraordinaire known as Valraven. The first drop is best in the back, don't at me, and this row is usually easy to request. I will say while the first drop doesn't personally do much for me, I think a different element on this ride goes underappreciated by a lot of people. The incredibly slow 0G roll is by far my favorite part of this ride. For context, if you haven't been on this, my mom said that she thought the train was going to fall off the tracks during this. Don't worry, I explained how upstop wheels work to her after. When this ride is a short line, I always make sure to jump in, but if the line is over 30 minutes or so, I'm probably going to skip it. We finally reached the I try my hardest to ride this every time I'm in the park coasters. Gatekeeper is a sleeper hit in my book. I've called it things in the past such as ethereal and majestic, and I stand behind that all the way. I feel like I'm floating, and I sometimes close my eyes and imagine I'm riding on a cloud or a magic carpet. You can pull forces on this if you sit in the right spot, contrary to popular belief. You know what? Everybody please keep this low on your rankings, it makes the line shorter for me. Magnum grows on me so much every time I ride it. The magic seat in Car 1 Row 3 really is that. Magic. Everything about this ride is stellar. The airtime, its location in the park, the station, and even the tunnel at the end really add to the great experience in my opinion. There's not much to say that hasn't already been said about the first ever hypercoaster. I mean, it was so influential that it literally started the first coaster war. While this ride is dropping in my rankings lately, it still safely has the 3rd spot in the park. It's not that I don't like this ride, I actually do. I just think that the absolute hype for this ride is overstated. The first drop is top 5 drops I've ever experienced, the lap bars are great, and the overbank after that first drop is amazing. Everything after this in the layout seems a little bit meandery to me though. It's largely overbank, turn, airtime hill turn, overbank, well you get it. Still a great ride, just my least favorite of the top 3. Maverick, what can I say about you? From your first drop to your last airtime hill, you are a genuine delight. Your whippy turns give me airtime like no other turns ever have, and your first drop is arguably the best in the park. Your tunnel launch always makes me smile, and I have never come off you feeling underwhelmed or dissatisfied. If you didn't break down every time a bird sneezes within a 5-mile radius, you might have a chance to take number 1 in the park, but sadly, you can't seem to do that. I'm sorry my friend, but number 1 has to go to... Steel Vengeance takes everything I love about every other coaster in the park and dials them up to 15. Millie's Drop, make it shorter but steeper to essentially feel like if Valraven had lap bars. Magnum's airtime? Nah, Steel Vengeance's airtime. You thought Maverick was whippy? Strap in and hold on for some of these elements. What can I say? When arguably the best ride in the world is in this park, of course it's going to take number 1. Was anyone surprised? No, probably not. That's all for today. If you've made it this far, a subscription would be awesome, and I'd love if you checked out my fiance's new channel, which is linked in the description. I'm Josh from Station Wait. Have a great day.